Wrestling fans, now you too can look as cool as Monty and the Pharaoh by wearing the official Monty and the Pharaoh sunglasses at night for $8.99 each. That's only $8.99 each. Now available at montyandthepharaoh.com. We know what you're thinking. Did they fire off 6 fascinating points of interest or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all the excitement of watching and listening to Long Island's #1 wrestling podcast, I've actually forgotten myself. But being this is the Monty and the Pharaoh from Indie Music Studios in Ronkonkoma, and the fact that they were talking to yet another champion wrestling star, one of the most powerful and talented performers from the wrestling franchise, and not to forget, well-informed and provocative interview questions asked and answered. It was such an interesting and entertaining hour, the questions nearly blew your head clean off. Now you've got to ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Do ya, punk?
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.
Finest hour, good times surely will come. All I know is people talk without listening. What I'm saying is life's too short to live in these extremes. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. And all through the night I wondered and waited.
Fake news. Boston wrestling is fake news.
Divided we fall to wait here for you, holding it together, just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is annualized confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come.
Hi, This is Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas. For y'all that don't recognize me, this is my nose now. I had another nose, but this is my nose now. And we getting ready to go into the holidays. You see, I got my girl Charlotte sitting up here, all decorated. Got my Christmas tree all decorated. Merry Christmas. I got my good friend, old Larry Hunter. Say hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Right here. And then I got my number one friend, Coochie. Coochie. I got Coochie with me. So I'm gonna have me a wonderful holiday. Larry gonna cook me some nice turkey and everything with dressing. Coochie gonna kick me in the face, and who can ask for more than that? Everything. What's wrong with that, Larry? I mean,
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just know what's wrong with y'all men now. All y'all guys out there, all you guys out here for Christmas. You should let your wife or your girlfriend kick you in the face. You're gonna love it. But anyway, getting to what this program, a lot of things in connect. And why is people so much into pro wrestling? Even though they know some of the matches and most of it is staged, people still pay money to go see these matches because Santa Claus had a lot to do with pro wrestling. Here's what I mean by that. For the first 12 years of everybody's life, or 10 or 8 or 9, whatever your mother told you, there was no Santa Claus. We really believe in Santa Claus. We believe in a tooth fairy. And then as you get up age, your parents tell you, well, there ain't no Santa Claus. I remember my mother first told me there's no Santa Claus. I said, huh? No Santa Claus. She said, nope, there's no Santa Claus. But that didn't stop me for believing in Santa Claus. That did not stop me for wearing a Santa Claus shirt or putting on the Santa Claus beard or the Santa Claus hat or having Santa Claus at Christmas. Well, the same thing with wrestling. Wrestling in the older days, it was something that the people could believe in. And what our job was, I say it 1,000 times, was to make the people believe. I wanted to make the people believe that what we were doing was for real. And I was telling Larry earlier and talking to Coochie, Vince McMahon Sr., he believed in not letting the people know what was going on behind closed doors. His belief was, the old term was kayfabe. Do not let the people know what's going on. My job was to go out and make what I do look real. Look as real as possible. You did not want the people to see through what you did. So if you jump up in the ring and you gave me a drop kick, and if you don't make a solid, hit me solid, I won't go back. There was a wrestler, I can't think of his name right now, probably before the program over there, Cowboy something, tall guy.
Bob Ellis?
I can't think of a name right now. It'll pop in my head, but it was Cowboy something. Well, he did it in the ring one day, and it was a battle royal, where one of the fans took a paper cup and threw it into the ring, hit him in the back of the head, where he thought one of the wrestlers hit him, so he took a bump over the top rope, and everybody started laughing. Another time, they're going to have a bench press contest, a weightlifting contest with superstar Billy Graham and Ken Patero. Well, half of the weights were for real. The other half of the weights were not for real. So they forgot to turn the camera off. So the prop guy, the guy that bring in the weights and bring in all the stuff that did all the prop, at the end of the tape, he grabbed the weight with one arm, held it like this, and walk off set. So from that day on, because a certain thing kind of was supposed to be, the promoter was so afraid that people was going to find out that wrestling was not a real thing. So what we had to do at Pro Wrestling, I have to make people believe that this nose is for real. These horns are for real. So how are you going to do that? When people come into the ring, like George Scott told me, said, Tony, everybody out there believe wrestling is fake. How are you going to make people believe that it's not fake? Well, the first all, they told us don't do nothing in the ring you wouldn't do in a real fight. That was number one rule. Number two rule was to lay in your punches. It didn't matter how hard you hit your opponent. It's where you hit your opponent. If you hit him in the pecs, you're not going to hurt nothing. You hit the center, you may crack his sternum. You hit him on the collarbone, you may hit his collarbone. So we knew where to hit and where not to hit. Now when you got outside the ring, you really had to lay him in. So there was no punches pulled on outside the ring.
Tell them why. Why on the outside?
The people, when you're on the outside of the ring, the people right there, they within a foot from you. Yeah, not even that. You know, a lot of times, like when you fight Abdullah, the guy within arm reach of you, because Abdullah would fight up in the order. So if a person is sitting as close as I am to Clutchy and Larry, they could see and they could hear. If I hit something, it make a sound. You don't hear that sound, you didn't get hit. When a car hit something, it make a sound. Anytime anything make contact, it make a sound. No sound, no contact. So if a guy went up for a drop kick and he missed me, what I would do, I would just hit his foot and make it look like I blocked it, you know. But I wasn't going to take a bump. It had to be believable. When I see certain guys do things in the ring, the people can't believe in it. And the reason a lot of times people, it's hard for me to believe in today's wrestling, and I mean, it's entertaining, but the believability and the realness of it is gone. When Jimmy Superfly Snuka got up on the top rope and came down on you, that's a 270-pound man. Now, to make it be believable, you don't get up. People believe it, and it means something. I watch guys now when they wrestle, they do 1,001 things to their opponent, and not one of the things the opponent put over or sell. So it don't mean nothing. It don't matter if I hit you 20 times and if you get up and drop kick me. It don't mean nothing. Nothing means nothing no more in pro wrestling, which is kind of a lost art. Now you got guys like Triple H, The Undertaker, that could still do that. I consider Triple H and Undertaker two of the best, and Randy Orton. Very believable. You see, wrestling, I've been saying, it's like a movie. You want to get into it. And it's hard to get into a wrestling match when the guys are wrestling like Teenage Ninja Turtles. What a Teenage Mutant Ninja?
Teenage Mutant
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Or Power Ranger. They look like Power Rangers, you know?
Much better for you to say something.
Yeah, Power Ranger. Nothing means nothing. And so what we try to do in our day, we try to make things or mean something. Because we want to get something people can believe in. Johnny, we used to play a joke on people. I probably told this before because I repeat myself a lot. He would go up to a person, and the person asked Johnny, is wrestling fake? Johnny would say, no. As soon as he said no, people started fighting with, oh, yes, it is. It's fake. It's impossible for you to do this, and you're able to do this and do that. You know, if it was real, you couldn't do that. So we wait a while, and then he go back the following week. Talk to another guy. Is wrestling fake? Johnny would say, yes, it's fake. The guy would say, oh, no, it's not fake, because I saw Black Jack Mulligan hit Wahoo McDaniels in the head with a chair, and the chair wrapped around his head. So that's why people would ask that question, because they would go in thinking one thing, but because of what the wrestler did, we confused them. When you're on the outside of the ring, and the guy chopped you so hard, like a Wahoo McDaniel or a Sweet Hanser, hit you so hard that it sent chills through the audience. And the audience know you really got hit. So when you really get hit, it's hard to say that's fake when you got hit. When you pick a guy up over your head and slam him to the mat, you can feel the vibration of him hitting that mat all through. You know? It's hard for you to say that that's not real. And that's what wrestlers do. Even though we knew who we're going to wrestle, we knew who was going to win, who was going to lose. When you got in the ring, you want to make it look as believable as possible. I saw this movie called Gladiator. Loved it. Until one day somebody got the bright idea to show me how it was done. From that day on, I didn't want to watch Gladiator no more. Because I knew how it was done. You go see a musician pull the rabbit out the hat. You're going to keep going to see that trick until you learn how the trick is done. Then you lose interest in it. And I think that if I had my way to do something in pro wrestling, I would bring back more believability in wrestling. It's impossible for a guy like Mark Henry not to be world champion. For God's sake, he's the world's strongest man. Now, if he's stronger than any man on earth, how come he can't win nothing? Because it's not. No, that's not reality. So we always try to put reality into it. But anyway, like I was saying earlier, I want to talk about this one guy. His name was Pat Song. And how this started, that's Pat Song attacking wrestling too. And over here is a guy called Rock Hunter. Rock Hunter was a manager. Anyway, I went out, as y'all all know, I do artwork. So I came out and I gave, look at that young Tony Atlas, head full of hair. Look at all that hair. And this guy over here, he was wrestling of the name of Richard Blood, which is Tito Santana real name, but Ricky Steamboat real name, but that's Tito Santana. But he was wrestling under the name of Richard Blood. And of course, y'all know that's Gordon Solie, and that's Mr. Wrestling #2, Johnny Walker. So I did a picture of him. Well, Rock Hunter took the picture and tore it up. He tore up the picture. So after he tore up the picture, Wrestling 2 came out. He was attacked by Rock Hunter and Pat Song. 2 end up getting a broken neck and end up going to the hospital. That's Wrestling 2 where they put him on the ambulance, take him into the hospital. Okay? So after they did that, this was like a 2-part angle. Pat Song karate chop supposed to be the most dangerous karate chop in the world. But how, now Wrestling 2 just went to the hospital for being hit with a chair and the vicious karate chop of Pat Song. So how are you going to make the people believe that 2 is really hurt and Pat Song chop is as rugged as they say it is? Well, what Ole Anderson, the booker at that time, came up with, have people to bring things for him to break. Not the wrestlers. Have the wrestling fans to bring things. They would bring in a brick, he would break it. They bring in a board, he would break it. Because these are things that the people brought. And the wrestler, Pat Song didn't know what he was going to break. One day, this girl came in, little girl, with a rock this big. Let us see him break that. Pat Song kept hitting that thing. Believe it or not, he ended up cracking it. Because a lot of the guys from Japan, they were legitimate in martial arts. You know, they were legitimate in wrestling. Like I say, a lot of time in the older days, if you was not legitimate, they wouldn't push you. You like the Iron Sheik was legitimate Olympic wrestler. Ken Patero was a legitimate Olympic weightlifter. The guys have Carl Gotts we were talking about last week. These guys were legitimate. And that when he broke that rock, that's when everybody said, this guy is dangerous. This guy is dangerous. So, how I got involved in the program is that Rock Hunter, this was in July the 29th, 1977. And you see me here getting ready to do a bench press. The referee is Charlie Smith. The guy spotting me is Dusty Rose, the American Dream, Cody Rose, and Gold Dust father. And I'm getting ready to lift this weight. Well, what ended up happening, I bench pressed 500 pounds. You see, Dusty Rhodes spot me, Charlie Smith is cheering me on, and Tito Santana is cheering me on. And you see me counting the money. Rock Hunter bet me $500 that I can't lift 500 pounds. So I did the 500 pounds. This was I did the 500 pounds. Now, Rock Hunter came back the following week. He said, "Well, I know you can do 500 pounds on the bench press. Everybody know you can bench press 500 pounds, but can you put it over your head?" So now the bet was that I can't put 500 pounds on my head. So I go in the ring. I start with 135. I put that on my head. 225. I put that on my head. Then I slap on the other 45. I go to 315. I put that on my head. Pat Song came and gave me a karate chop in the throat. I fell back. The weight fell across me. But it was real weights. Nothing was fake about the weights. Nothing was fake about the chop. They wanted it to look real. And it was real. So a lot of stuff we did a lot of real stuff because some things you just can't fake. You have to do it. Then you have to be able to take it. See, anybody could give pain. But you also, in pro wrestling, you got to be able to take it as well as giving it. Like a lot of guys, when they hit with them cheers, some of the time they would knock you out. Gene Anderson, when you want to get juice where you get blood. Gene would take your head and ring it into the ring post until he busts your head open. And he try to catch you right in that little corner right here. Oh, yeah. And they call it doing it the hard way.
Frig the hard way.
Oh, yeah. That's what the hard way means. That they're going to bust you open.
Frig the hard way.
Yeah. And they would actually bust you open, because they wanted people to know that it was for real. The bench press I did in the ring, it was 500 pounds. It was real. The 315 I lifted on my head and got karate chop and the weight fell back on my chest, it was for real. When I used to press slam somebody, I made it look real. When Snooker came off the top rope, it was real. So to say that wrestling was fake is an understatement. Wrestling was half show, half real. And it was like that for many years. Just like I say, if you wrestle Johnny Rojas or you wrestle against Bruiser Brody or Johnny Valentine or Angela Mosca, especially Mosca's, he was a beast. These guys would beat the living crap out of you. And they enjoy every minute of it. They would
Mulligan
beat you.
was that way too, wasn't he?
Who?
Mulligan.
Mulligan. It depends on you. If Mulligan like you, he take it easy on you. But even when Mulligan took it easy on you, Mulligan was kind of like Mark Henry. He didn't know his own strength. Blackjack was just a big, powerful, strong man, and he didn't know his own strength. But the funny thing about this card here, the match I'm talking about, this was the card that night. Now, I want y'all to look real closely at all the names. That's your main event. Your semi-main event. The next match down. The next match down. And so on. Check that out. Now, the thing that got me was this name right here. Randy Savage. Randy Savage. Richard Blood with the Tito Santana. Bill White, who I talked about, Roberto Soto. Randy Savage wrestled Dino Bravo that night. And Dino won. Dino Bravo won. Gene and Ole Anderson wrestled Dusty Rhodes and Mr. Wrestling 2. And Dusty Rhodes and Wrestling 2 won. Tony Atlas and Pat Som were managed by Rock Hunter. No contest, which means a disqualification. Cowboy Bill Watts wrestled Ole Anderson. Cowboy Bill Watts won. Jacques Goulet beat Tito Santana. Bill White beat Roberto Soto.
Is Jacques Goulet, Rene Goulet?
Yep, Rene Goulet. Rene Goulet. But see, and I was showing Larry all these cards. and I didn't see one match that Randy Savage won. That what made Randy a bigger star than I were. The reason everything Randy did, Randy, even though his father was a pro wrestler and everything, Randy earned his stripes. He took a licking and kept on ticking. Me, I hate to say it, but a lot of it was given to me. I really hate to say that because that's the name of my book is Too Much Too Soon. The reason I call it Too Much Too Soon is because everything came to me so quickly and so easily that I didn't have much respect for it. See, when you work hard for something and you get it, let's say you go out and you buy yourself a car, and you work and you work and you save and everything, you're gonna take good care of that car because you look at all the hard work you put into getting that car. But if the car is given to you, you gotta. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us got a tendency of not appreciating it. And Wahoo McDaniel told, this is Wahoo McDaniel with Tommy Wildfire Rich and Gordon Solie. That's Wahoo McDaniel right here. Wahoo McDaniel. And Wahoo McDaniel told George Scott, too much too soon. I was in the business for such a short time, and I was a main eventer. Right off the bat, that they made me a main eventer. I think I wrestled about, oh my goodness. The first 3 years of my wrestling, I may have lost 2 matches. My first year. My first match, I won. My very first professional match, I won. See, that spoiled me. It was me and Bob Records against the Blue Scorpion and Art Nelson.
Well,
And,
you thought it was real though. You were out there, the big
Oh,
strong
yeah.
guy you were.
I thought I was in a shoot, but there's the idea of they allowing me to go over is something that they probably had never did for any wrestler.
No.
Any wrestler. I mean, back in them days, you had to earn, you had to pay your dues. And right here, I don't know if y'all can see it. That's my first match, right there. That's me and the Blue Scorpion. And that was my finish, it was a sleeper. And right here, that's the card of what happened. And I think back then what they called me, Tony White, the tag team of Tony White and Bob Breger defeated Art Nelson and the Blue Scorpion. I wasn't even Tony Atlas then. They were still trying to figure out what the hell to do with me. I used to wear white trunks and white boots and everything, trying to fit the name White. And then all of a sudden, the name Atlas just stuck, and the promoter liked it, and they ran with it. I became Mr. USA 1979 when I won the United States bodybuilding championship, and that's where the title of Mr. USA came in. But for the first year, I was Tony White. And then it went from Tony White to Tony Atlas White, and then later on to Tony Atlas, and then later on after that, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. So I wish they had brought me along, a little bit slower than what they did, but I got a break, and I didn't know how to handle it. It was just too much too soon. I went from making $60 a week working as a dishwasher at Roanoke hot dog stand and working as with Tap, total action against Bobby. Larry never lift up his feet and probably disconnected everything. But when I first started into the wrestling world, it all came so easy. Everything was just given to me. Hey, look at the kid. Look at the kid. I was talking to Sheila the other day. Now, Sheila is Rocky Johnson's wife. And Sheila told me that I talked to Rocket, and me and Rocket talked 2 days before his passing. 2 days before his passing. And we got to talking about things that Rocket had talked to Sheila about, and that talked to me about too. And I told Sheila, I said, when I was in Florida, I wanted to quit. I didn't want to wrestle anymore. I wanted to quit. And Rocket Johnson pulled me to the side, and he said, Tony, you got a great future in this business. Don't you quit.
What year was this?
1975 or 74, somewhere along in there. I got on the road. I liked the wrestling part. I liked the money. I liked everything. But the traveling. I mean, you live in your car back in them days. You know, your hotel car. That's where you spend all your time. You spend 2 hours at the building where you wrestle. You spend 6 hours in a hotel. The rest of the day was in the car because you had to get from point A to point B. You know, when you wrestle, you got through wrestling. The show let out they started at 8, let out at 10. By 10:30, because they locked the building at 11. So the only guy that got stuck in the building was a guy they called Aaron Mike Sharp.
Taking a shower.
Aaron Mike Sharp, good guy, great guy, big, strong, rugged guy. He was a germophobia, you know. So guys used to play joke on Aaron Mike. Aaron Mike would get ready to go to the ring. A guy would go up and shake Mike's hand and say, hey, Mike, have a good match. Oh, thank you. So thank you. Mike would shake his hand. Then Mike would run into the bathroom, wash his hand. So they wait until he come out the bathroom. As soon as he come out the bathroom, another wrestler went up and, hey, Mike, good luck tonight. Shake his hand. So he run back into the bathroom again. They would do this. The promoter would say, y'all leave him alone. We never give him the ring. So right before he go to the ring, all the wrestlers would shake his hand on the way to the ring. Now he's going to the ring like this. He's going nuts. And the promoter said, go to the ring, Mike. Mike, go to the ring, Mike. And Mike is trying to get back. He want to go wash his hands before he go to the ring again. And it was just hilarious. It was a rip that they paid on Mike every night. He was always the first to suck a match and the last guy to leave the building. The reason
I heard he took a shower after the shows were done.
No, he would take a shower and everything, but then the guy would touch him.
Oh,
He'd jump back in the shower. Every time something happened, he'd run back in the shower. He would take his socks and fold them, his underwear and fold them. Everything had to be in place. Guys would go by and they would move something. Might come, he come and put it back.
oh, geez.
And then another guy come out, they move something. Mike would come and put it back. Everything had to be in order with Aaron Mike Shaw. But the nicest, toughest SOB you ever want to meet. But he could have been champion. But the problem was with this German phobic thing he had, it prevented him. Everybody in life got an Achilles heel. When I got inducted, I know I'm all over the place. When I got inducted in the 2006 WWE Hall of Fame, S.D. Jones was telling a story, and about Mr. Fuji and Saito was the WWF Tag Team Champions at that time, and they was working a nice angle with me and S.D. Jones. S.D. Jones was my first tag team partner before Rocket Johnson. I got to take this off a little bit so y'all can know it's me. Hey, look at here. Look like I got a buck. Now how to go right here?
What is it? How big is it?
But anyway, S.D. was telling the story about me and him being a tag team partner, and something happened. Something's wrong with me. I'm telling you, I'm sick. Anyway, SD was telling a story about me and him, and we was in Philly at the Spectrum, and me and SD we was tag team partner against Fuji and Saito. When they bust me open, I started bleeding, blood everywhere. So the referee didn't want to stop the match. So the referee took me out of the match. SD said, I fight them by myself. I fight them by myself. So I go back in the back. SD is fighting Sayuri Fuji by himself. Finally, it's like getting the best of SD Jones, where they wrapped my head up like that, and I came back to the ring. The old 76 gimmick, limping, coming right back to the ring and everything, and I run them off. We're going to do a return match for the title. And from what I hear, they were going to put the title on me and SD. So SD Jones and myself was supposed to be the first Black World Tag Team Champion. Like I said, everybody got a weakness. I was dating a young lady at that time. I'm not going to use her name because, I don't like doing that if I can help it, because I don't have their permission. And they probably don't want the story told, but I'm going to tell the story without using her name. She called me up. She said, when you coming back to L.A.? And I said, I don't know. She said, well, I got some new sneakers. You do? But what do they look like? She started talking about them sneakers and how they look and everything. The more I thought about them sneakers, the more I forgot about that title. Now, this is going to be the funniest thing. I had a chance of becoming World Tag Team Champion in 1980, 2 years earlier, with SD Jones. Now, what do you think was more important to Tony Atlas? Becoming World Tag Team Champion or the sneakers? The answer to that? The sneakers. Everybody has a weakness. I didn't show up for the show. I got on an airplane. Back then, you could pay at the airport, just before all the craziness got now. So I had money in my pocket. Most wrestlers would carry about $2,000 or $3,000 on them all the time because you didn't have a chance to get to the bank. I mean, you got back to where you stayed maybe 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks. Most of the guys had a bank account in Allentown, Pennsylvania, because you went there every week in Allentown. So we would carry $2,000 or $3,000 on us all the time. So I ran to the airport. I paid for my ticket, hopped on a plane, went to Los Angeles, had my shoe fund, and now I'm thinking, now what I'm going to tell Vince, not Vince Jr., Vince Sr. So finally, after about a month, I wouldn't say it was that long, maybe about 2 weeks. I think I stayed with her about 2 weeks because my money started running out.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to go get some more money, because the girl took all my money, And so I was spending money, whining and down, and this girl, she was stepping on me, kicking me in the face, and all this and that stuff. I was just having a good old time. Forgot all about wrestling. Found the girl, say, when you going back to work? I said, Then I thought about it. So I called up Vince Sr. Vince Sr. answered the phone and said, Tony, where in the hell are you? Nobody know where you at. He said, we've been looking everywhere for you. I said, I'm down here in L.A. He said, what the hell are you doing down there? And I said, well, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. And he said, what? He said, try me. I said, this girl has some nice shoes. Truth. This girl has some nice shoes. I couldn't resist. I had to get them shoes. He said, Tony, I heard a lot of excuses before. He said, that's a good one. He said, who would ever think about that? He said, now why did you really go? I said, that's it. I went to get walked on. He said, okay, Tony, you're not going to tell me. I know you're not going to tell me. But anyway, are you ready to come back to work now? This is Vince Sr. I go, yes. He said, you got any money? I said, no, sir. I said, I got probably about $100 left. and I hear him on the phone. He called his wife. He said, honey, do you have any money? I got to send Tony some money. And she said, I got about $800. And he said, give it to me. I need to send it to Tony. Ain't that something? He said, go to Western Union, Tony, pick up your money, and fly back here. So I got on the plane. I flew back. When I got back, Rocky Johnson was there. So in the older days, they only had room for one top wrestler, black wrestler, one top Oriental wrestler, one top Polish wrestler. So if you were the top black wrestler, all the other black wrestlers worked underneath you. Well, this was the first time that Vince was stuck with two top black wrestlers, myself and Rocky Johnson. So these are his words, not mine. He come up to me and said, Tony, he said, you know we got Rocky in here now. I said, no, I didn't know that. He said, yeah, Rocky Johnson here. He said, would you like for him to stay or should I tell him that he got to go? I said, oh, no, I don't want nobody to lose their job because of me. I said, I like Rocky. He's a good guy. I said, keep him. But Vince came to me, senior, not junior, senior, and asked me, was it okay for Rocky Johnson to stay? So I said, yeah. So Rocky Johnson stayed and became my tag team partner. Now, y'all probably hear a story where me and Rocky had conflicts along the way. And this is like I said, at the end, me and Rocky became very, 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 very good friends. But I didn't understand the business as much then as I do now. When I look back on it, this was Rocky's first big break. He been wanting to go to the big time. He wrestled in all these little small territories. He never stayed in a big territory. I started in the best territory at that time with the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. I always worked big territory. I was in and out of these small territories, But small territory is like one state. Florida, it just ran that one state. But with the big territory, that did more than one state. Like WWF they did Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, all the way up the East Coast. AWA went from Minneapolis all the way to California.
San Francisco.
So San Francisco, California. So these was big territory, and them the territory that I was lucky to be in. Then you had smaller territories like Memphis, Knoxville, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling.
Southeast.
Southeast Wrestling. They were, you made good money, but not like they're the big. So Rocky, this was his shape. That was his shape. So Vince said, do you want to go back, Tony, to LA, Los Angeles, California, and pick up your car? And as soon as he said that, Rocky Johnson walked up. And he said, oh, he don't need to do that, Vince. Since we're going to be partners, he can ride with me. And Vince said, oh, that's great. He said, I was hoping you guys could get along because we were thinking of teaming your guys up because y'all look great together. I mean, we was like the first, this was before Alma and Hawk.
Yeah,
We both muscled up, And Vince, when he saw us together, he thought that was Vince Sr. thought that was the greatest thing he ever seen, He said, you guys look so good together. And SD talked about it. He said they kicked him to the curb, which they did. And so I rode with Rocky. This is my first day back. And I'm on what you call, can I say it, the shit list?
Oh, yeah.
I just said it, right?
You just said it.
I just said it. So I was on the shit list because I just walked out on him, So, I was on I was on what you call probation. I was on probation. This is my first night back. So Rocky said, you can ride with me. Now, all the boys do that time stay in Hamden, Connecticut. So Rocky dropped me off at a hotel. And he said, I'll be back to pick you up. The next day, we had to go to Hartford, Connecticut, which is 32 miles away, 30 or 40 miles away. So I'm sitting there waiting on Rocky Johnson. He's supposed to pick me up, I think, around 4. 4 came, no Rocky. 5 o'clock came, no Rocky. Well, the show starts at 8, so I got to be there by 7, Finally, somebody said, Tony, you better go. So I called the front desk. I said, can y'all get me a cab? She said, yes, where you like to go? I said, I got to go to Hartford. She said, okay. She called me a cab. It cost me $200 and some to get to the mat. I walked through the dressing room. Rocky sitting there lacing up his boots. I said, Rocky, where in the hell were you? Oh, I looked all over for you. Where were you? He said, "Oh, they told me you was already gone." I said, "Rocky, I sat in the lobby the whole time." I said, "You could ask the lady that worked there because she wanted to meet Rocky.
Yeah.
She wanted to get a picture with him and get his autograph." Rocky left me at the hotel. This is my first day with Rocky, my first day with him. Okay, I didn't understand none of this.
Mm.
I'm gonna explain it all to you later. Rocky's not a bad guy. Rocky is not a bad guy. Another time, I flew to Texas and wrestled for Paul Bosch. And I was riding with a guy called Tagger Conway Jr. Every time I go there, Tagger would pick me up at the airport, take me to the show, take me back to the airport. Just one time, Paul Bosch got an idea of, instead of booking me just for Houston, he wanted to use me in a town called Beaumont, Texas. So I flew in, Tagger picked me up at the airport, dropped me off at the hotel. The next morning, me and Tagger got up, went to the gym together, worked out. He took me over to where his father had a place to make fences, a fence place. They installed fences. I hung with Tagger the whole day. I said, "Well, how far is Beaumont?" He said, "Oh, it's only about 80 miles from here, about a 2-hour drive." I said, "What time you going to pick me up, Tagger?" Tagger told me what time he's going to pick me up. I go the same thing. I go to the lobby. I sat and wait for Tagger. Tagger never showed up. Tagger Conway Jr. left me at the hotel. So later on, I'm sitting there waiting on Tagger because I don't know nothing about no Beaumont. I've never been to Texas except for in and out the airport. So this wrestler by the name of Gary Young. Gary Young.
Gorgeous Gary Young.
Was it gorgeous now?
Yeah, gorgeous Gary Young.
Right,
He was ugly as sin.
They call himself gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. It's called heat, brother. It's called heat.
All right. But anyway, I'm with Gary Young. He called to leave message because he knew I like to go to these honky tonk bars. Now, his friend had a honky tonk bar. They wanted me to come by and have a couple of beers, a couple of shots and everything. So the lady said, "Well, he's sitting here in the lobby." So Gary said, "Put him on the phone." So put him on the phone. Gary said, "Well, what you doing there, Tony? I thought you'd be at the match." I said, "I'm waiting for Tagger Conway." Gary Young said, "If they're not there by now, Tony, they're not coming. If he ain't there by now, they're not coming." He said, "I'll be right there." Gary was off. He jumped into his truck, picked me up, drove all the way to Beaumont for me to make the show. As I would walk through the door, I was coming to the door. Tagger Conway Jr. and Tagger Conway Sr. was on their way to the ring.
Wow.
On their way to the ring. Luckily for me, I came right in the door, and then found it when Senior saw me. Automatically, he went back in the dressing room because he knows that he can't be my partner. So I tried to explain to Paul Bosch what happened. Paul Bosch said, "It's not Tagger Conway's responsibility for you to be there, Tony. It's your responsibility. You should have got a rental car. He just should have went to the airport and got a rental car and just drove here yourself." He said, "No excuse." He said, "Don't depend on other people." That's what Tagger did. Conway did to me. The same thing Rocky Johnson did to me. Then I got there. We wrestled. I wrestled in my street clothes. I just pulled my shirt off and just went straight to work. No wrestling boots. I had the sneakers on, my sweatpants. And I did the match. I came back. I walked back in the dressing room. I punched Tagger Conway in the mouth. I did. I drilled his butt. They broke us up. They broke us up. Broke up in the ring. I was never invited back again because Conway had a lot of pull, in that area, and that was the screw job that I got from my two brothers. Another time when I was in Florida, Rocky Johnson was tag team with Maniac Mark Lewin, and the promoter told him to go pick me up. Eddie Graham. Eddie Graham said, "Go pick up the kid at the hotel." Well, they picked me up because Eddie Graham told them to. I rode to the show with Rocky Johnson and Maniac Mark Lewin was his name. So Mark Lewin was a heel, and he wasn't supposed to be riding with him. He was a bad guy. Yeah. He was a bad guy. Maniac Mark Lewin. So they said, "Tony, uh, I got to go get the car, and me and you got to separate. You go on this side and wait for Mark. I'm going on this side and wait for Mark. I said, okay. So I go on this side. I'm standing behind the building, wait for Mark Lewin to pick me up. Rocky Johnson go on this side, wait for Mark Lewin to pick you up. Mark Lewin pick up Rocky Johnson. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm waiting.
Weren't you both baby faces? You and Rocky?
Me and Rocky babyface.
So why didn't you go together?
Well, because Rocky told me to go on this side.
Oh, okay.
I'm new
All
to
right.
the business.
Okay, all right.
Rocky said,
Okay.
you go on this side of the business. Because he didn't want us together because he figured the people going to start following us. He said, we separate. You go this way.
Okay.
And Mark going to pick me up and then we're going to pick you up.
Yeah.
He didn't want us to both get in the conversation. Why? I'm going to tell you why. You're going to find out why. So finally, I'm sitting there and all the cars, I'm in the parking lot. There's not no car in the parking lot. Not one car. And I looked on, I see this van, this little van.
Mhm.
And the van was doing that.
Who was in it?
Boom, boom, boom. The van was bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'm looking at this van. I said, well, what in the hell is going on in that van?
Really?
In that van. So finally, a girl came out the van, got into her car, and left. Quick Draw Rick McGraw
Uh-huh.
came out of the van. Rick saw me. Hey, what you still doing here? I said, I'm waiting on Mark Lewin at Rocky Johnson. He said, man, them guys been gone about an hour. He told me to go on the other side of the building, him and Mark, and they left me. Can you imagine that? So me and Rocky, I was mad at Rocky for a long time. I was mad at Tiger Conway Jr. for the longest time. Until after our career and everything was all said and done. Oh, one more Rocky Johnson story. Now, I don't have nothing against Rocky. I love them. You can ask his wife, Sheila, we were the best of friends after our career was over. Because he explained why he did what he did. Another time, I'm with Rocky. And I'm not going to tell the whole story, you know.
That means it's really juicy.
Yeah, I can't tell the whole story. But anyway, I'm with Rocky. We're at the what you call it? Was a hotel in Allentown where all the boys used to stay. The George Washington. George in the same hotel with the girl got killed with Jimmy Slooker. Okay, the same hotel. That's where all the guys used to say. It's on MacArthur Street off of 222, whatever the highway. It's MacArthur Avenue. I remember that much about it. But anyway, me and Sika, we got up and went to the gym early that morning, about 7 that morning. At 9 o'clock, we was back. We was eating our food. Now, Vince Sr. got tired. So we used to do TV in Allentown, Pennsylvania one night. The next night we went to Hamburg to do TV. But it was only 20 miles apart. So the guy was showing up late for TV. So Vince Sr. said, anybody late for TV, I'm going to fine them $500. So me and Alpha, we got, not Alpha, but Sika, we got up and went to the gym together. We worked out and everything, and SD and all of us guys. And I'm riding with Rocket. The SD is riding with someone else. So SD take off. And I'm waiting on Rocket. I go stand by his car. No Rocket. No Rocket. Finally, Rocket came out of the room. Came out of the room. Hey, come on, kid. We got to go. We're going to be late. We're going to be late. So I hop in the car. Rocket drive to Hamburg, which is only like 25 miles. Vince Sr. is hot. Mad as mad could be. He used to do these $50 like this. And we get mad. He would be going to town on these dollars, So he said, don't worry about it, Tony. I talked to Vince for us. You're not going to get in no trouble. I talked to Vince. So I said, how you doing, Mr. McMahon? He said, get dressed, Tony. So I walked by. Rocky go talk to him. I said, oh, yeah, Rocky going to straighten this out. So we do our matches, do our taping and everything. Now I'm getting ready to leave. Vince Sr. called me and said, Tony, come over here. Yes, sir. He said, the next time you want to go to the gym and work out, go earlier.
Whoa.
Rocky told him the reason that I was late was because he had to wait for me to leave the gym. I told him, I said, I went to the gym at 7 this morning with Sika. Just ask Sika. I was back in the hotel having dinner with Sika, Alpha and Sika at 9 o'clock. Me and Rocky supposed to have left at 10. Rocky told me to meet him at 10. I said, Rocky didn't leave it at 12. See? Now, I ain't going to tell y'all the reason why. But I put it this way, he had company. He had company. But the bad thing about it, he had his wife was there too.
Oh,
He had these joint rooms. Ooh. The girlfriend was here, Rocky and his family in this room. And Rocky would send his wife up to get something, and Rocky would slip out and go to the other room. When I came and sat by his car, his wife came out and talked to me. Now Rocky can't get out of his girlfriend's room until she leaves. So finally she left to go into the house or something, or go to see Dwayne or whatever. Dwayne was hanging around him at that time. So when she went back in the room, Rocky come running out the room. That's what happened. You know? Okay? But he dumped all that on me. So later on, me and Rocky, we talked. I said, why you leave me all that time? He said, well, what the wrestlers would do to Rocky Johnson, they would go to Rocky. I said, because Rocky is Canadian. I don't know if people know that. He's Canadian. Rocky's biggest fear of being deported. He didn't want to go back to Canada. He had a rough, Canada for blacks was rough. You think it was rough for black people in America? So what Rocky told me, in Canada, if you black or if you are an Indian, Native American, it's rough. So Rocky in the neighborhood was one of the toughest neighborhoods anywhere where Rocky grew up. He grew up tough, rough and tough in the street. So what Rocky used to do, he was afraid of being deported. Plus, he just got the biggest break of his career. He's not been in, the biggest break this guy ever had. World champion, tag champion, and stuff. This was a dream come true for Rocky. So Rocky didn't want to do nothing to mess it up. So the wrestler called Rocky and said, "Hey, you riding with that Tony Atlas?" Rocky goes, "Yeah, right." Well, he got a lot of drugs on him. The cops is watching him. He always carry a bunch of drugs. Half of that bag is full of drugs. So Rocky gets scared and leave me. They would do it to him every time. And it scared him so bad, he didn't even want me in his car. He rode with Mark Noon. He would ride with anybody wanted to say, Tony, because he was just so afraid. See, Rocky came from an old school. He knew nothing about drugs. So the Rocky, a joint, is like cocaine to Rocky. He don't know the difference. It's like heroin to him. All he knows is dope.
Yep.
And he was scared of being busted for drugs and get deported. So he told me that story. And then another thing that they would do, they would go and tell Rocky that I say things about him. So Rocky get mad at me and leave me. And I didn't know none of this stuff was going on. See, my problem was because of my physique. And like I said, they only had room for one black wrestler on top. And even, what's his name, Pussy-Pad Watley? Mm-hmm. We were just riding down the street. This was in 2000, before he passed away, the year he passed away. The same year he passed away. He said, I always hated you.
Gee,
I said, yeah. I said, well, what the hell did I do to Pussy-Pad Watley? He said, as soon as you came in the territory, Tony, we knew we were fired. Skip Young, Sweet Brown Sugar, told me the same thing.
But you told me the story about in Texas where you said, no.
Yeah.
Because they were going to get ready. He said the same thing, and you went, no, team us together. You told me that story.
They were going to get rid of him. Yeah. And I looked out at these guys, but they were so afraid that they were going to lose their job. Just like Mr. Fuji screwed every Japanese, Chinese, Oriental wrestler ever came. Tor Tanaka screwed. He do so much. You'd be surprised what he did to Saito. He would leave Saito.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, because Fuji Didn't want to be. Why do you think Chief J. Strongbow stayed in the WWF so long for all the good Indians they had?
Yeah.
The only reason Tatanka even stepped foot in that door because Chief will retire.
Right.
If Chief was still wrestling, you think Tatanka would ever got a chance? No freaking way. That's how the old school wrestler were. Vince Senior felt, a lot of promoters felt, because what is the melting pot? Like New York is a melting pot. So they figure they need a representative for every nationality that was in New York. That's why you have Puerto Ricans, you had Italians, you have Irish, you had black, to represent everything. If you look at all the stars from the 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Okay. You look at all the stars from the WWF from 1980 up until Hulk Hogan. They was all minority.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Snooker, Don Morocco, Mr. Fuji, Saito, the Wild Samoan, Rocket Johnson, S.D. Jones, Tony Atlas, Junkyard. Well, I think Dog came with the Hogan era, if I'm not mistaken. The Dog came.
Yeah, he came out.
Came, but we was all minorities. The only Angus Saxton that was what you call a main eventer during that time was Bob Backlund and Alvin Pusky.
Well, he's Polish.
He was Polish, but at that time, being Polish was considered a minority. Or you was either Polish or Italian. But he wanted one wrestler to represent all the nationalities.
Everybody wants to see somebody like them.
That look like them. Yeah. That's exactly right. So what ended up happening, Junior saw it differently. What Junior saw was, if that is true, how come so many black wrestlers love Dusty Rhodes so much? Why they like Terry Funk so much? Why they like Hogan so much? I remember one time, I'll tell this real quick. Where we at now, Larry? Larry, keep up with the time. Tell this real quick story. I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and I asked Vince, I said, why y'all put me in Baltimore? He said, we got to have you in Baltimore. Got to have you in Baltimore. And I said, why? He said, it's a black town. It's a black town. I said, okay. So then I get to Baltimore. Me and S.D. Jones are on the black thing there.
Well,
where are the black fans? You understand? We the only
wrestlers.
No, we're the only black thing there. All the fans are white. I would say 90% of the fan is white. Some say they think if it's a black town, what, they're hiding or something? Where are they? See, wrestling fans never cared about that. Vince Jr. saw that. Vince Sr. didn't see that. He figured, the way you would just say, that everyone should have their own their own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Having somebody to represent them. But the world was changing during that time, right before his eyes, where the color in sports didn't matter.
Right.
I mean, Ali went from being a bad guy to a good guy. You know, Michael Jordan was being cheered for. Earl the Pearl was being cheered for. People didn't really care what color the athlete was.
Just successful.
Just successful. But it was hard to, what they always say, it's hard to teach the old dog new tricks. Well, I'm only got a few more minutes. Like Larry said, I only got 2 minutes left. So I've been practicing something, and I'm going to see if I could do this. But y'all tell me, put your earplugs in, y'all. Here we go. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright round young angel, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. And with my good friend Larry Huntley, this is another series. We will see y'all again. This is Clucci and